Welcome back to another episode of The Road to 2200. I am 1959. My opponent is 1938. For some reason, it's not showing the times today, so I'll try to keep you informed. I've tried a lot of things and it just won't work. All right, so my opponent is going into some sort of Fianchetto. Are they going to do a King's Indian or a Grunfeld? That sort of remains to be seen. We're just going to do my normal Smyslov type setup of attacking this and putting some pressure on. And I will see what they're going to do. What is their intention? Okay, so it looks like we're going to end up going into a King's Indian is my guess. They're going to go here next. Yeah, I'm just going to go here. And then probably go here and here. And this is generally what I do. Kind of messes with the King's Indian player. They don't get their normal big king side attack. They just have to play a regular game of chess, and they tend to not like it very much. I assume we're going to see this, 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 this. That's generally what h6 means. But, I don't know. My opponent's certainly not jumping on it immediately. They're taking their time with that decision. So, it seems like they didn't make the move h6 intending those next four moves. I think it was more of just like let's see what the bishop does. So now, what are they going to do? I still think e5 is coming quick. Maybe knight d7 as well. If they play d5, we should have an answer ready. So if they play d5, what do I want to do? I usually end up taking, but I'm trying to remember is it right away or not. Because if they go here, I don't have to take. Like, they could go here. I take this way. If they go here, I do nothing and they push. I can also just take here. So I think probably if they push e5, I will just continue my development first and then see how they sort of handle that. My opponent's very much going in the tank here on move 7, which is a little surprising, especially after h6. They apparently have no plan whatsoever. The Smyslov variation is working quite well. They're completely flummoxed. What do I do? How come I can't attack the king? Okay, that's a very reasonable move. I will make my reasonable move. I still have castling. I can sort of gain space over here. I can make my rooks better. I've got lots of moves that I'm very happy to make. And my opponent, not so much. They're still struggling. If this was a classical game, it would make more sense to use this much time. Okay, so here, I think I'm fine with that. And here, I'm okay with. So it's like once they move there, I have to decide. So I can just castle first and then figure out what I want to do. Because now if they move the rook over, now they're threatened to push this pawn and I can't take it. And maybe that's fine, but maybe that's not what I want. Because they could go here, I go here, I'm on it twice. I guess then they could go here, and now they're on it 3 times. But, yeah, they look to be a little stymied. Okay, they're pushing anyway, which, that doesn't work, right? Am I missing something? I go here, it's not actually defended. I think that just loses a pawn. I mean, it's possible I'm missing something basic in this position. It happens to me sometimes. I have these oversights, but I don't think this is one of them. I think they just forgot their knight was pinned. I think it's really as simple as that. And if they try to go here, and I go here, they don't have anything cute. So I think this is just one of those cases of mistakes were made. And I feel like this was caused by them being out of book and out of sorts, right? They've used a lot of time to figure out just how to play the first couple moves. Ah, okay. That's interesting. Now if I go here, my piece is hanging. So maybe I did make a mistake. I feel like I can go here, though. And then if they take... And this is with check also. So I think it's fine. And then I just move. And the piece count is even again. I'm up a pawn. So, yeah. But I don't feel like I fully appreciated that they could have thrown in that g5. Okay. So now question is, how do we proceed? They could go knight h5 to try to trade off my bishop. That wouldn't be the end of the world. They'll have moved these knights a lot of times, and they haven't accomplished that much. I'm trying to even decide, if given time, if I want to do something with that bishop. I don't think so. I think I'd be pretty happy with this exchange right now. Like, this knight is pretty reasonably placed. It's not going to stay there. In fact, I was thinking about going here, then this, but then maybe this. And now actually, does that fall even? No, because it could take here. Ooh, and then when I take, it's actually covering it. So yeah, it doesn't really work very well. But I still think this is not a bad way just to develop my pieces, attack the knight. If they want to go f5, that's interesting. I might consider swinging my knight back here. Also, the queen here backs up that pawn, which is pretty nice. Alright, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go here. I'm kind of assuming this is coming, and then I will respond with that bishop move. I also sort of like h3 as a way to give my bishop an escape square, and as a way to prevent the bishop from going here. The one downside of that is then when they take, now my pawns are a little bit uglier than I had anticipated. It's probably still fine. But I think going here and putting lots of pressure here feels pretty solid. If they were to go f5, f4, I think this is fine. Like, their king side position looks pretty vulnerable. My pieces are still well set up. I mean, if we look at what they've done with this game, it's moved the knights like 1,000 times. Like, let's just count how many knight moves they've made. So it's 1, and then they had a little break. 2, 3, 4. I guess it's only 4, but it's 4 of 12 moves. So it's 1/3 of the moves have been knight moves. Most of them with that knight. Okay, so that's what we thought was coming. I still think this is probably right. Takes, 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 takes. I'm up a pawn. That seems like a reasonable position to me. It's not crushing, but I feel like it's quite reasonable. And now they really do have to do something. I guess they could go here. That might be actually really strong, now that I'm looking at it more. But I would probably go here. And I don't really have to do that much in this position. Just keep slightly improving it. Keep improving my pieces. I'm up a pawn. Just play some decent chess. I don't feel like I have to make any thunderbolt moves. My opponent has a lot more pressure to find something great. Also, my pawn structure is really solid. My king is safe. Like, everything seems totally fine in my position. My opponent really has a hard job, I think, cracking something open. Because if they can't crack anything open and they just trade off the pieces, I think they're going to be in some trouble. Okay, that is certainly a way to do this. To add that other defender. If I go here to d2 and my opponent takes on d2, and I take, and they take, and I take. Again, we're in a pretty similar spot that I think I'm happy with. And if I go here and they bring a rook over, and I take, and they take, and I take, and they take, and I take, and they end up with a rook here, I think that's also still fine. So I'm going to go here. Yeah, I think this works. This knight's really good. I can admit that. That's fine, but let's get it out of there. And in fact, I could have gone here, but it's awkward with this bishop here. Like if I try to go here, then they take, and then here, and then once again, it's not a disaster, but I don't like that pawn structure as much. Okay, my opponent is like, no, I love this knight so much. Don't make me move this knight. And also, they can't simply move it is the other problem. They're forced to trade a bunch of stuff off now, because if they were to just move the knight, then they hang their bishop. So they have to do something where at least this is coming off or this. And I think either of those I'm fine with. And like if here, now this guy either has to move aside. Oh, wow. So they are going in for the full-on trade. So takes. And that looks good to me. Let's do it. Let's just trade it all off. We're up a pawn. Sure. And this rook stuck there doesn't look that great to me. That doesn't necessarily look like a positive in the position. I'm tempted to go here, and that hangs. I think I need to get the rook off of this so there's no cute things that can happen there. So the question is, where do I want my rooks? That's like, we need to really shift gears now. We're suddenly in an endgame. So let's think about how we want this to work. First of all, our king is a real piece now. It might not be bad to go like here, and sort of like get this pawn structure, and then start bringing that king up. Uh-oh, phone distractions. Okay. Oh my. All right. Quick reset. Yeah, so I do kind of like this idea. In order to pull that off, I need to move both of these also. I think the middle is where the action is going to be, so I think I probably want like this rook here. And this rook, I don't know where I want it yet, but I know I don't want it on that square is the problem. Do I want it here? Do I want to just put it here so it's guarding this? These are the questions I'm not sure the answers to, especially when my opponent goes here, and then this will be kind of hard to back up. This bishop is in a little danger. I'm probably going to have to go here. I'm actually a little tempted. Well, I would kind of like to go there, but the rook is covering it. So I think I want to go here, and then I can threaten to go push this pawn, and I think that actually causes some issues. So I'll go here. I'll end up moving this pawn up. I'm probably going to move it 2 squares, so I can do that. It's actually, having this chain of pawns on the dark squares is actually inhibiting their bishop quite a bit. So, you know, maybe that's fine. Although it's inhibiting my own bishop, but my bishop is outside of this chain, so it's not as bad. But my bishop is pretty bad right now, right? Like, it's just... It really can't even... It literally can't move right now, even. But that's where something like this could be really helpful. If I take, then my bishop's out and about. If we go here, this hangs. So if I go here next, I'm not really sure what the answer is. Maybe they go here to try to hold on. But then after this looks pretty bad. Like, now they have this isolated pawn. My bishop's targeting it. I don't see that this does anything. It's like, okay, you're doubled on a fully closed file. What? I don't understand. What are you hoping is going to happen here? That it's like here, here, sack a piece, and that's in, but still doesn't do anything. So I'm going to do this plan. I think I like this. It feels like it puts quite a bit of pressure on them, and my bishop might get released here. My bishop has like all this latent potential, right? Like right now, it's really boxed in, but if it bursts free, it could cause a lot of problems. And in fact, that C pawn is like right in its sights. And my opponent isn't doing anything. That E8 move was a really waste of a move. Okay, so if I go here, they can push this pawn, but the bishop's out now, right? So we've accomplished that mission. I don't think I want to separate that pawn. I don't think there's any reason to do that. I'm trying to decide, do I want to do that? No, because if I do that, first of all, this hangs. That's just like a very basic tactical piece. But second of all, this is just causing problems for my opponent. And maybe I can even go here and end up doubling on this file. And though this looks like a nice move, when I go here and here, maybe not so much. And here, and then I'm causing these three pawns to get all mangled, and I'm on them. Whereas my opponent has this rook sort of tucked in here and seemingly not doing very much. I don't think I want to double. I think I just want to push these two pawns up. Especially this one. Yeah, let's just push this up. We can go here. They go here, we go here, we're on this, then they gotta go like that. And it's just like, I don't know. It's causing them more and more problems. I think I'm gonna probably put this guy here before I push here. So then if takes, and they push, then this just goes here. Like, it just feels like my extra pawn is being felt more and more. One more thing, if I'm able to go here and trade this pawn off, well, this guy is suddenly a passer. And that is a big deal. Right? Like, right now, my extra pawn is good. But if it's an extra pass pawn up the middle, then it's fantastic. Then we're getting into, like, it's just a matter of technique. Which, you know, at my level is saying a lot. That was kind of a joke of those master level, you know, GM games where they'll stop like at this position and go, and from here, it's just a matter of technique. And then, you know, Cabo Blanca won. And you're like, okay, you say so. All right. So what is my opponent going to do? Are they going to actually seek active counterplay is the question. Okay. So that's an interesting idea. If I go here and here, it's takes here, and everything seems bad for them. So we're going to do this. This is generally... Wait. Before I do that. This is in the position. Okay. So I think I need to respect that idea and go here. Before I do that, though, what about this? No, that doesn't work. So we're going here. I could also go here and accomplish something similar and keep this bishop tied up. But I feel like if I go here and they go there, I don't really have a good answer. If this rook wasn't here, then I could slide the bishop back there. So I'm going to go here. The idea of going here and here. I'm kind of assuming this is going to come at some point. Doesn't worry me too much. I'll probably go here. They can't really push b5 because I would just take. Wow, that's a nice Thunderbolt move. Okay, so I didn't respect quite enough what all they had here. They had more than I thought. They actually have this checkmate. So if I take, it's check, takes, check, mate. So that was a nice move. Throwing all of my advantage away. If I go here, though... Okay, and they just move. We just trade rooks, and that's not good for me. It's not bad for me, but it's not good for me either. That's really sad. Is there any way to say, no, that doesn't work? I really stepped in that one. And if I go here, well, they just run away. It's fine. And if I go here, I'm accomplishing nothing. Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, so where do I want this rook? That's the question. Do I go here, or somewhere else? If I go here, yeah, they have to do something with their bishop now. Yeah, and their bishop's fully out. That's very upsetting. I'm going to come all the way back. Well, maybe I want to go... Yeah, I'm going to come all the way back. And then this stops the mate threat. Now they have to do something with the bishop. I don't see any great squares for them, other than maybe going back. And I don't think they want to go back. If they go back, I might go to d6 with my bishop, and then send my bishop to c5. But this is very frustrating. Like, that was my winning pawn. I was winning with that pawn, and I threw it away. It was a nice tactic. I will say that. It wasn't like my opponent's just straight up blunder. But, I mean, they did really slowly set that in motion. Although, it's been there forever. And they just finally found... Oh, it wasn't there forever. Because the rook had to move. It was once the rook... So they've been eyeballing that tactic for a while. So that was nice by them. I think I just have to say, it's a rapid game. You're not going to find every little tactic in a position. And that was a nice one. It was a good, subtle tactic. And I'm just going to give them credit and move on. They're also down to almost 6 minutes. I have 9 minutes. I know you can't see that. But I do have a pretty unlikely time advantage, which I don't normally have in these games. And my opponent is kind of back to, like, I don't know. They've taken a lot of time on this move. They took, like, the last 10 moves to set up their tactic. They executed it. And they're back to, now what? I don't know. Probably what I'm going to do is still push the A pawn and the B pawn. Mangle their pawns. Yes, it will leave them with a passer. But I think it's going to be a rather targetable passer. I don't know. We're getting late enough in the game where maybe it's not as targetable. Okay, so they finally opted for that. Which does seem reasonable. I kind of want to just go like boom, boom, bring the king in the game. There's definitely a part of me that wants to just do that. I guess this is a pretty big worry, though, if I do something like that. Not having my king in the game in an endgame is a little bit frustrating. There's another part of me that says, why don't we just take this open file, double on it, take the 7th rank, and win the game that way. There's only one open file. We can actually grab it without any way to be contested. They should have gone here, so they could have at least contested the open file. I think that's what we're doing. I do have to keep in mind that this is hanging. So I can't double on it just yet. And so that means I can't go here either. Because then they would just go here. And then I would be able to take back the open file. But I kind of like to double on it if possible. It looks like I'm going to be able to. So a move we're going to make soon is probably this. Instead of trying to push these pawns at their pawns, we're going to go here, like here and here. Something like that. Double on the file. I think probably a good plan for my opponent would be like this. Bring the king up, push those pawns up, make this bishop's life a little bit worrisome. And see where that goes. The only problem with that is by pushing this, going here, 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 and even here. No, that won't work. Let's say here, here, takes. There's going to be trouble because it's a check and this pawn hangs. And then we'll cover it before they can get our pawn even. So f5 has positives and it has real dangers. There's just enough pieces on the board to where maybe king's safety is relevant. If they can get a rook off, then that king's safety, I think, is less relevant. And maybe that means they should just go here, here. Covering the entry score. Though if they went here, I think I would just immediately go there. But then they could go here. And if I go here and here, here, I don't know. They could contest. But then, yeah, this bishop is in a weird spot. That's funny. I was definitely looking at that spot too when they moved there, and I was like, that seems reasonable. And the more we look at these variations, now that I've identified the power of this file and then the power of this rank, suddenly that bishop looks pretty poorly placed. And again, if it was here, right, then a lot more covering could happen. So it's just, it ends up being, it's one of those things in chess, right, where you're like, it's either or, I don't know, this looks safer, I'll do this, and then your opponent executes a different plan, and it's like, oh, wow, yeah, that probably is on the wrong spot now. And that can be really frustrating. Okay, so they're covering that rank, which is a good idea. So where do I want my rook then, is the question. I won't be shocked if they go here. So, like, let's say I went here, here, here. Also, this recovers this entry, so that's also nice. Okay, so the choices aren't many. It's here, here, or here. Which one do I want to take with the rook? Not this one. It's too easily hit by the bishop. Either of these two seems reasonable. They have different pluses and minuses. I think I like this one better. There's no sudden, out of nowhere, I don't know how this bishop could target the square. But that's also covering this square, which is just kind of helpful. It's not amazing, but it feels like a very little thing. It feels like it's more helpful to hit this than this for now. If this had been a light squared bishop, then I would have put the rook here covering this guy. And then this is going to go here next. And if they don't go here, I don't know. Things are looking kind of reasonable here again for me. Plus my opponent is down to 2 minutes and 25 seconds. I have 7 minutes and 24 seconds. So there's a giant time disparity here, which is, when that happens, it's usually against me, not for me. I am sort of eyeballing something like this. I mean, not now, because they would go here. But let's say it was doubled. Then I went here and here. That's not the worst. This pawn here does a pretty good job of stopping this pawn from advancing and that pawn from advancing. And in fact, if my other pawn was here, these pawns would be fully stopped. And I would still have my, 4-on-3 over here on the king side. My opponent under 2 minutes now, just really going into the tank for every single move, which is good, I guess, but I mean, what I mean is it's good that they're taking their time, but they're using, it's just hard and rapid to take this much time on a move like this, where, like, I'm playing rook d1, so you probably should have had a plan for that even on your last move that I was going to try to double. I don't know. It feels like, if nothing else, rook f8, king f8 is probably okay. Bishop b6 is fine. just gotta make a move. Whew, they're under a minute. The time is red. Oh boy. Tough stuff here for my opponent. I am really putting it to them with basic moves. It is how it works, though, right? You make what looks like a pretty simple move. Okay, that is very interesting. That looks like a really bad move to me. I guess if they're following it up with c5, maybe it's fine. But so I go here, c5 takes, and then I have stuff like this. And this is being hit. I don't know. Even that's, no. I'm just going to double. I think, actually, there's a little part of me that wants to go here and hit that pawn first and then double. Can I get away with that? So if I were to do that, they can't push now. That drops the pawn. They could go like here to back it up, which would give me this file. I mean, this rank. Then they go here. I go here. Takes. That looks pretty good still. Yeah, if nothing else, I think this is annoying for my opponent. Obviously, I was going to double. And by going here instead, my opponent really has to think about that, right? Okay, so they're going to go there. I'm not going to double on that file. Because then they can go here. I think I will... I go here, here, takes. Bishop's under fire. Bishop goes to there. I go here, maybe. I'm just trying to decide whether I double first or put the rook there first. Does it matter? I don't think it matters, the order. I'll just go there first. And they have to do something, right? This is hanging. So they can't push here. This is probably what they're going to do, or this. What? We're right back to this? This doesn't work. Here. Check. Here. 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 Check. Did I really fall for another tactical debacle? Because I still haven't resolved my back row? Goodness. What is wrong with me? So takes is mate again. It's just mate again. If I go here, then he has two pieces hanging actually, so maybe I'm okay. I go here, check, takes. Yeah, I think this is okay. I think we're fine. They now have two hanging pieces. This rook can go here to defend the piece, so they do not have two hanging pieces. Right, of course. Good news, I can't get checkmated anymore. Now I'm down a pawn. I went from winning to being down a pawn. This is madness. This is hanging, so that's interesting. I could just go takes, get the pawn back. That's probably the best way to go. And then this is hanging and that's hanging. So yeah. I think we just have to admit I messed up again. Go here. And now there are two more hanging pawns. And perhaps my advantage was so large before that I'm going to be okay. But guess what? Defend them both with one shot. Because I'm down a pawn, this doesn't work very well. I can go here, here. That doesn't work very well. Hangs a pawn. I think I'm probably going to lose. Well, losing is probably wrong. It's like this is probably well within drawing range. And if I go here, that looks frustrating. Goodness, this rook just holds everything together so perfectly. I don't think I can afford to trade the rooks. While this will damage their pawns. Wait, we're even on pawns? Right. So maybe this is the way to go. Damage the pawns. I have a very slight lead. Like the slightest lead ever. I could go here, here. Interesting. If I just go check here. Okay, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to go here. Do I need to move this guy at all? No. Well, like this stuff is worried. Yeah, I'm just going to bring the king in. Let's bring the king up. Kind of assume the king is going to go there. I think I'm going to go here with the bishop. Unfortunately, I have to... Oh, this is kind of a good move for them. Okay. That's a nice idea. Letting them get behind my pawn. So I think that's a pretty big error by me. Because if I go... Oh, no, I'm fine. The bishop's still covering it, so I can't go there. Okay. And he goes there. I will move this up. Okay, I can't go up 2. I can only go up 1. I think I'm going to go here, here, and say, yeah, your bishop seems better than mine. Yeah, I don't want their bishop to get to there. And now I can move my king to here, and it's okay. So the question is, do I want to go here, 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 let their king in? I think the answer to that is no. I do not. I want to go here. Kick their king out. They can't threaten this pawn now. And there won't be any zugzwang in this game. I'm going to go here and get my pawn off of that dark square. Actually, that looks kind of reasonable. Though, then they go here. Yeah, no, that works. So I think I might go here. And then, well, I guess if they take, then they're on that. And then things fall apart. So maybe I just say, let's just take the draw. I'll go here. I'll admit I was outplayed. And I don't think my opponent wants a draw. Oh, they do want a draw. They want to draw so much they're offering a draw. I mean, it's clearly a draw. The question is, do I want to play on anyway because I'm a madman? So if I were to try to play on, what would that look like? It would be like going here. No, this is a draw. Okay, wait, before we accept this. They have this pawn in the middle that I can attack. Unfortunately, they can easily defend it. And if I move my king, their king comes in. So yes, this is unfortunately a draw. So that is a quite disappointing game where I was winning and just twice blundered the same tactic. Okay, so the beginning is a pretty typical King's Indian stuff. Nothing too exciting until they went there. And they just throw away a pawn. Now let's look with the engine just to make sure. Yes, they just threw away a pawn. And it's a big lead. It's a big lead now. It's a big lead I have. I guess I'll leave the engine on just in case something crazy happens. But yeah, all these seem like normal moves. And the engine does say, like, your lead shrunk, right? And I did feel that way. By making all these trades, my lead does shrink. Engine says that this is the peak of our position. And what? The best move is bishop e5. What am I missing? Takes, and then this hangs. Okay. Yeah. So we could have done something like that. This is a very, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a very human move to me to be able to find that, but okay. Or just improve our rooks, which I did later. Like there was, I think I just really was uncomfortable with that knight being so well placed. And then I thought this rook is kind of trash. And this is equal. We've given up all of our advantage because of f5. Which I looked at f5 and I didn't think f5 was that great. I could just go here if I needed. f4, takes, go here, and I guess this is a good point. Now they're on everything, and then I have to do something like this, and then and then this is falling. So yeah, okay. So that actually would be quite good. Okay, so neither of us saw that. I'm back in business, basically. Now I'm crushing again. They go here, I'm up 1.5. H3 is a great move. I don't have any more mate threats to deal with. This is fine. That is bad. We already saw. So here, H3 is good, of course. Get rid of the mate threats. I have to first see the mate threat being a problem. Interestingly, coming over here is good. That's the engine's #1 move. I don't know. It feels very weird to me to try to do something like that. A4 is also fine. That was also in my plans. So what's not good though is to go here and give up this tactic. So give up the tactic, make a new plan, and now the engine just says, actually, right here the engine says I'm back to up a whole pawn. And that I need to go rook a3, and there's no way to defend that pawn. What? What? Wow, I totally missed that. Okay, so I went here. Go here, and then boom. Same tactic once more. And it's just like, what? How are we continually falling for the same tactic? Luckily, I'm able to just trade down and win a pawn. But then here, this is a draw. The engine says this is obviously a draw. It's clearly a draw. The engine says you're up 1 here if you just move your king up. Just move the king up. I thought they would go here. I thought this would be a lot of trouble for me. Engine says I go here. And if they take here, I take back. And now, look at the difference in kings. Their king is doing nothing. It very slowly comes into the game. I get to bring my king over here, but first I can go g4 and really sort of slow them down. Then they go here to hit my pawn, and I say no thanks. And they go here, getting ready to hit this pawn. And then I can just start heading over. And I'm going to get some pawns. Wow. Okay. So that's kind of amazing. King e4 was much better and maybe wins. Though the engine says it doesn't actually. As long as your opponent plays well. Like if they try to go for this pawn, then yeah, then you win. But they can draw from here. So okay, I didn't do that. I went into the just straight up draw line. And yeah, the computer says this is a draw. Like if I had tried something like this, on the positive side, this actually isn't dangerous at all. It looks dangerous. It's messier, right? Like I feel like from here it's possible to lose. But the engine says this should still be a draw. But this feels like a harder draw. And it's kind of unclear what's happening. But that's the game. I mean, my takeaways are that I played the opening really well. My opponent made a pretty ridiculous blunder in the opening. I spotted it. It wasn't hard to spot, but I spotted it. And then I guess I don't know if this is a mistake or not. to try to trade all the pieces off. The engine doesn't like it necessarily, but I kind of do. I feel like my opponent had to play like perfectly, and then here I'm just crushing again. And then I guess the other takeaways are just little tactics, right? So like I missed this tactic, I missed the tactic later where I could have taken the a3 pawn. I missed another tactic there. It was like when it was almost like once I got up that pawn, I went into this like not tactical alertness mode, and like I missed all their tactics, I missed my tactics. I was just gonna win with this pawn. I even said like I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna win with this pawn. And I don't know. I'm not sure if something turned off tactically or if they were just hard tactics. And this is a weird tactic. I missed it. I'm not too upset, but missing it the second time was kind of upsetting. All right. Well, that is going to do it. Another edition of the Road to 2200, and this is why it's hard to climb in chess. You play really well, you get a draw, and you gain 0 rating points. All right. See you next time, everybody.